Hi, I'm Jennifer Thompson. I am part of the group with Golden Moore and Stephanie Gilbert. For our book-alike presentation, we read the Watershed book, A Successful Voyage into Integrative Learning by Mark Springer. Mark Springer is the author of this book. He created the Watershed program at Radnor Middle School in 1985 with his co-teacher Ed Sillix. And the idea behind the Watershed School was Mark and Ed had a gifted program where they let the kids research a topic, study it, and then they would go on what they call educational excursions. And a lot of these excursions led them to the Brandywine River and studying of the watershed in the Brandywine River. And it led to the kids creating canoes and creating trailers and taking these trips on this river. And from those experiences, Mr. Springer and Mr. Silvitz decided that why can't they make this a program for their middle school? And the program is based on the idea of whole learning. And whole learning is an educational system based as well on the belief that every student deserves to feel a sense of ownership and a sense of pride and a sense of belonging. And I think that statement right there is very middle school, with the idea of these students, not just our job being to teach them the material, but also to help them become successful learners, confident in themselves, how to treat each other and work in groups. And I think this whole learning process really internalizes all those middle school sort of philosophies and concepts that many of us have. The idea between whole learning is that it's interdisciplinary learning, meaning that it's somewhat like a project-based learning where all the topics, subjects, math, reading, science, social studies, writing are all integrated into a research type style of learning that's created by the kids. And it's the total reintegration of knowledge, meaning it's student driven. They're looking and searching out this knowledge to sort of satisfy their thirst of curiosity in that type of area. One of his quotes that I really truly love is, "The teacher is not a dispenser of specific knowledge, but rather a co-learner in an ongoing process of searching for answers." And that really says what whole learning is, where it's not the teacher at the front of the room dispensing knowledge to its students, but it's the teachers learning along with the students, guiding them, helping them research and integrate and find their interests and desires for learning. And the whole learning process emphasizes firsthand exploratory off-site learning experiences. So the idea was the kids would pick a project, research it, do activities with it, and once they got that foundation of knowledge, they would take the students off-site to the Brandywine River or to a museum and let them use that research in a real-life situation. One of the ideas between what the perspective of the author Mark Springer is about middle school curriculum is he really makes a point to talk about what factory-like schools are and what schools should be. And this is a quote that I really love from the book. And this quote was written in 1994. The school was started in 1985. So really the term 21st century learner hadn't really been coined yet. So I find it interesting that he uses these words. As we approach the 21st century, our schools still reflect the factory image of a century ago in terms of physical plant, curricular structure, and the attitude towards the role of the individual learner. Students need to work with problem-solving procedures in open-ended conditions which more closely approximate the realities of working/living world. And that's really what we are driving towards today. And he had the foresight to think about this in 1985 and realize, as we do now with the research, that kids learn better when they are part of it. I found this picture from the 1950s schoolroom, and I find it ironic that many of our classrooms don't look much different from this today. They're in seats, they're in rows, There's not necessarily a student at the front, but there's a teacher at the front dispensing knowledge, and it's a very calm, quiet, um, information given, student received environment opposed to an active learning environment that us in middle school and our curriculum with the Common Core, we sort of promote today these 21st century schools where students are active, engaged learners and in the topic of their interests. And then once they take and create these hypotheses and experiments and ideals, then they put them into action. These are my students. We have solar panels on the top of our schools through a grant, and we studied the solar panels, and then they try to create their own solar cookers. And we had fun doing it. They learned a lot. They learned about different ways to make them better, and some of us got some half-baked cookies. So that's sort of what the appropriate middle level curriculum is, that our students are involved, although sadly enough we still see these factory-like classrooms around today. The book was published by the National Middle School Association in 1994, which of course we know as AMLE now, and of course that they are real supportive of this whole learning sort of new type of way of pushing education and getting the students involved in their education. One of the things that I thought was very interesting about this book was at this Radnor Middle School where they created this Watershed program. It was the 7th grade. These 40 kids got lotteried into this program, and it was this exploratory excursion-based learning. And professors and people from colleges were coming to Radnor Middle School and saying, this is fantastic. This is the way kids should learn. And you know, they were writing about it, and it was being published, and the National Middle School Association came in and said, yes, you are doing this correctly. Yet it never spread to any other area of the middle school. It remained this one 7th class program. And so once the 7th graders had this year-long great experience in this Watershed program, they had to go back to a regular type setting school. And it was a tough transition for them. And one of the things that Mark Springer says is he can't figure out why it never pushed past there. So after researching this publication and Mark Springer, I did find that later, after he retired, he created this surrounding school, which is the 8th grade program of a Watershed type of school. And it is based on the students pick 3 themes that they want to study through the year, and they break it up into thirds and they study it. One of the things I thought was neat was they added more mathematics, and that would have been one of my criticisms to the Watershed program was, although they were doing some math with you know, the experiments they were conducting on the river, math really needs to be a more involved process for the students to really understand and build on everything. And so it looks like with the surroundings program that they stepped up into more of the math. And I also found interesting to know that after retired, he started working with Nancy Doda from our book in our philosophy class last semester, just going around to the middle school conference and other conferences talking about integrative learning and student-centered learning. So I thought that was quite interesting also. And then the last thing is this Watershed program has really spread across the United States in small amounts. Maine, Colorado, Alaska, maybe where testing's not quite so huge. And they call it Watershed, even though many of these schools focus on environment, government, architecture, things like that. But the term Watershed has been coined as that type of school. So I'd like to show you just this quick video of the Watershed School in Alaska, and it really gives you an idea of what the school and the learning is about.